So guys, we just finished our content batching day and I hope you guys enjoyed watching it. I think we did like 3 outfits each. Maybe Vanessa even did an extra outfit.
Yeah, I think I did a 4th one.
Yeah, and like we did that all in like 2 or 3 hours. So anyways, just to recap everything, just some things that we really recommend when you are creating content, and I think this is just really important whether you are an influencer or like want to be an influencer, or you are a small brand and you need to create content for yourself. You need to basically get these 4 things down, which number 1 is content batching, because it will save you so much time. And like Vanessa also said earlier, that sometimes like the lighting can be bad, especially if you're like shooting during winter and like their lighting is unpredictable. So if you can actually do your content batching, you will make sure that you can have good quality photos and good quality lighting, and it will be more efficient because you'll save so much time instead of like shooting a look today and then another look tomorrow and then like forgetting that you don't have anything to post. So that's really not efficient. So number 1 is content batching. Number 2 is preparing everything. So like having your references for your poses, having all of your outfits ready, like what you want to shoot. And you know, that's going to help you be able to do the content batching successfully, because you'll kind of know, you'll have this visual of what it is you want to shoot, where you want to shoot it, and all of that. So always like planning everything. And then number 3, what was number 3? Pro tip number 3. Oh, get a friend. Get a friend.
Yes.
Because otherwise, you know, or you have to get a tripod, because you know, who's gonna take the photos for you? And I think like having a friend who has a good eye, it's way better, because then you're also having a lot of fun and you can get those like natural, like candid shots, as opposed to like maybe getting your girlfriend or your boyfriend, because they probably are like, oh god, another photo.
But you can also help each other out, you know? If you have a friend who also likes to take pictures, who likes Instagram, you can, you know, help each other out. Like you both get something out of it.
Exactly. Otherwise, of course, you can do it yourself. You can get a tripod, but again, it's kind of hard sometimes to get like, you know, those really close-up moving shots with a tripod, because a tripod's just standing still. So I don't necessarily like tripods too much for that reason, but I still use it if I really absolutely have to. And I'll pop like all the equipment that I use in the description box below. That's the equipment that I use. I use like a ring light, like this moving tripod that I can use to travel with, and a bunch of stuff. So I'll pop it below. So yeah, that's like 3 of the main tips. I know I said 4, but I don't remember what the 4th one is. Because we had content batching, preparing, equipment.
I mean, we could use a 4th like as locations.
Yeah, location.
Especially if you have a theme, like an aesthetic.
Yeah.
If you walk around like your hometown, just remember or take pictures of the locations you like.
Yeah.
So that you know where to go, that it's easier to figure out on your content day where you want to go, where you want to shoot. You remember like, oh, there was a cute door or whatever, and you just go there.
Yeah.
That saves you a lot of time, and especially if you like live in a city where you walk a lot, you sometimes see cute places.
Yeah, true. Yeah, so like just making sure that you have everything kind of ready to go for that content day makes it much easier to execute. And again, like it's really important to have good content nowadays, especially if you have a fashion brand or you want to be an influencer, because everyone is on social media. That's how people find you. It's kind of like your online resume these days. So you want to figure out your aesthetic and then create content for that aesthetic. I hope this helps. And now we want to go into like a bit of a Q&A, because I think, you know, it's important to get the perspective of an influencer, especially if you have a brand, like, so you can learn how to approach an influencer. And we have Vanessa here because she is an influencer based in Zurich. You can follow her at Vanessa Comte. Like I said, she's into health, wellness, and sustainability as well. And like she has a really cool feed and a cool aesthetic. And I've worked with her for my brand, This Is a Love Song too. So, you know, we kind of felt like we want to do this Q&A so you guys can get a perspective from a brand owner as well as an influencer, because I think it's really important to be able to create like healthy relationships with influencers and be able to benefit from both sides, you know, not just like a one-way street. I think, you know, a lot of small brands they don't know how to approach an influencer or like how this works. So I got you guys. I have a few questions. So let's go through them. I have them written down so that I don't forget. So the first question that I want to ask Vanessa is, how should a brand find an influencer to work with?
So I think the best thing is probably organically, like you follow as a brand, you have certain hashtags you use, you have certain aesthetics you like, you have influencers or people you already follow.
Yeah.
So when you just scroll, because we all scroll on Instagram way too much, if you scroll around Instagram, you find people that inspire you, you find people that you like their content, whatever. So usually follow them, you already have them saved. And I feel like also by hashtags, like hashtags that are important to you, for instance, sustainability.
Yeah.
A lot
if you're
of
a sustainable fashion brand, right?
You can, or like if you have a specific aesthetic, like girly stuff, whatever, like what was it, cottagecore last year. If you have a specific aesthetic, you can find influencers with these hashtags. And I think that's the easiest way to find people you can work with. And what also really helps if it's a small influencer, like a micro-influencer, especially if you're starting out, because then micro-influencers are usually more motivated to like actually make content, get content out there. And they are more, I would say, true to their beliefs sometimes.
They're more like in their niche.
It's like a niche thing, and they actually really enjoy what they're doing, because most of them don't get paid enough, or don't get paid.
That's the second question that I kind of wanted to ask you, but I need you to unlock your phone.
I'm locking it.
Okay, perfect. Actually, so this wasn't my next question, but since we're talking about like they don't get paid. Okay, first of all, is a micro influencer anybody below 20K, or like what's the threshold?
I think there are always different definitions. I think it's between like 2K and 50K followers. It depends more on like their reach and like their engagement rate and everything. But usually with micro influencers or just smaller influencers, you have a more tight-knit community than to like bigger influencers with like 4 or 5 million followers. A lot of them don't really watch them anymore, forgot they even have an Instagram account. So with the smaller influencers, you have a more tight-knit community.
So you were saying before, like some of those influencers that are maybe starting out, they don't get paid. So one of my questions was that, you know, there are obviously like the unpaid collaborations and the paid collaborations. So can you explain to somebody maybe starting out, maybe having a small brand, maybe they want to be an influencer, I don't know, like, you know, who specifically is watching, but can you explain what is the main difference? And then maybe explain it from the perspective of like what the brand owner can get, and also what the influencer kind of offers, if it's unpaid or paid collaboration.
So, I mean, there are a lot of brands that work on like a gifting basis. And with that, if you just, as an influencer, get a gift, if a brand reaches out to you and they're like, hey, want to send you some of our products, you don't have to post it. There is no contract. If you get free stuff, there is no contract to post it. I usually only post about things that I really like. If some brand decides to send me something, I will just post a picture on my feed or a reel or whatever if I really like the product.
Would you tag them, or?
And I usually also tag them because
Yeah.
I just believe in, you know, like I want to promote things that I actually like, right? And there are also brands that have like a specific product they want to push or whatever, and they will reach out to you and ask you, you know, for a specific, like a reel or a feed picture or like a carousel post. and they will offer you money for that post, but then you have to post even if you don't like the product.
Gotcha.
So that's the thing. It's like, and then you also have to, of course, make sure that you tag the brand, make sure that you say it's a paid partnership, so that your followers know that you were getting paid for this post. And yeah, that's kind of like it. It's like either they pay you and they make sure that you post about it. If they don't pay you, they cannot really make you post about it.
So basically, if let's say like brand owners are approaching influencers, but they're just doing like a collaboration where they're gifting product, it doesn't mean necessarily that the influencer has to post that product, especially if you have a specific timeline or a specific request. So from what I'm understanding is like, you know, an influencer might like your brand and you might be able to offer them like, hey, you know, let's do an exchange, like product for a post. However, that's pretty much all that you can ask, because, you know, like it's not that it's up to you when they post it or what they post. You know, maybe they'll tag you in the caption, maybe they don't, maybe they just tag you in the picture. So obviously like a free collaboration or an unpaid collaboration, it's more like you cannot really set these rules. So I guess that just clarifies that if you do need something specifically promoted, maybe during a specific time frame or a specific product, then you have to pay the influencer for their work, right?
Yeah.
And especially if it's gifting, you can't just like maybe give whatever. You want the influencer to choose what they like, because that will probably put the chances up that they will post it. If they don't like it, they definitely will not post it, because they're not getting paid for it as well. So I think that's kind of like
There is one exception though, that sometimes I reached out to brands, to smaller brands, because I really liked what they were doing. If an influencer reaches out to you and they're like, hey, we can do an unpaid collaboration, if I can choose like maybe one of your dresses or whatever they're doing, and I had in mind like this and that, whatever, then you can talk about it. Then it's you know, sometimes you have ideas that you feel like you don't even need to get paid because you like the brand so much. And usually you just come with specific ideas like, hey, I want to do a reel about like, I don't know, going out dresses or whatever, and then you can reach out to someone.
So I guess everything kind of depends, right? It depends on like the influencer, depends on how much they like your brand, if you're the one approaching them or they're the ones approaching you. Would you suggest to always like have an agreement? Do you have agreements even if it's like, let's say an unpaid collaboration maybe when you first started? Or like what do you suggest for brand owners to basically protect themselves too, that maybe this influencer will post, especially if they're getting paid?
I mean, usually when you get paid, you have a contract. Or at least you have emails or something, because for both sides, you know, that counts as well. But as a brand, you usually also ask for a media kit from the influencer, so that you know what they're doing. You can see all of their social handles. You can see their rates as well, like they have their rates on there. You can still like discuss if you don't have that budget or whatever. But if it's paid, definitely most of the time there is a contract. Something that, you know, is binding.
I definitely, as a brand owner, do recommend that you have a contract. Maybe it's going to be hard to push for like a contract if you're giving out free product, but if you are paying for the influencer, you should definitely include, you know, like these specific terms in the contract, like the amount of times they have to post, for instance, what type of content they have to post, maybe this time frame that they have where they have to post this content, because especially if, let's say, you're promoting Valentine's Day, you want that to be posted before Valentine's Day, not after. So you definitely have to clarify all of these things inside of the agreement, as well as the payment and the payment terms. Okay, so next question. I think we didn't go through this one yet, right? So what are some tips for brands to approach an influencer that they want to work with? I think this is definitely helpful for smaller brands. How should they like approach an influencer?
I think it's kind of the same as like an influencer reaching out to brands. I always like when a brand reaches out to me when they have something more specific in mind when they are like, hey, we want to find influencers to maybe produce reels for us. We have our new line. Have a look. If you like some of the outfits, we will send you one, and we would like, you know, a reel or whatever, like something more specific. Also, another thing that is really important is make sure that you tell the influencer why you like them. Because
and don't copy paste the messages.
Yeah, if it's
right?
copy pasted, if it seems very, you know, dishonest, just like, oh, we love your aesthetic, it's a bit too vague, and it just sounds like, okay, it's not really, the brand isn't really interested in you, especially if it's an unpaid collaboration. Then it's nice to just hear, you know, and to see that they follow you as well, to have them maybe comment on your pictures, to have an interaction. And also to just make sure that you tell the influencer why you want them to work with you. Like, is it, you know, their style? Is it just they have the same like interests or whatever? I think that is really important.
It's funny because you said that, like, you know, it's good for the brand to follow the influencer that they want to work with. Like, I have my brand, and when influencers like write to us like via DM and they're like, hey, we'd love to do a collaboration, your stuff is so cute, but then they don't follow the brand, I'm like, well, that's, you're just copying and pasting that as well to get free products. So, you know, this goes both ways, and I hope like this Q&A just like helps clarify, especially if this is like a topic that you're really interested in, because you don't really learn it, you learn it by doing. And like, it's, everything is also like a case by case, because you are forging a relationship with another human being. So everything is very individual too, and it should benefit both sides. I think that's the most important thing, because that's how an influencer collaboration will be successful. So I have one more question. So the last question is, so what if a small brand doesn't have a budget? Are they still able to collaborate, like, or should they save up and then, you know, kind of, or find an influencer that's closer within their budget?
I mean, I think if it depends what influencer you want to work with. What I can tell from my side, or what happens a lot to also friends who are influencers, is sometimes it's underestimated how much work goes into a reel, a feed picture, whatever. It's still work hours, and it's still work at the end of the day. So it is, if you want something specific, it is always better to pay the influencer, maybe not on their rate. Like, you can still discuss, you know, when they send you their media kit, you can still discuss and be like, hey, our budget is maybe a couple hundred less than you usually get, like, would you still do it? But if you don't have any budget and you want to work with influencers, first of all, it's always good to check who follows you already. See what influencers follow you. That means they really like your brand, so they would probably promote it for free as well. And also find influencers who maybe follow similar brands, follow them, try to connect with them, you know, comment on their pictures, make sure you kind of have some vibe with them, some, you know, just personal interaction. And then usually I think it works out if it's for free, if both parties, you know, have that connection with each other.
I agree. I mean, like, I think if you have just launched a brand and you're new and you find influencers that are very supportive and they really like your product, you can probably do like a free collaboration once. But then of course, like what Vanessa said, it is work, you know, especially like making a reel, doing a whole like content day. So if, let's say, you work with a free collaboration and then that collaboration did well, then the next collaboration definitely needs to be paid. So like I said, it should benefit both parties. And, you know, you can find influencers that can be like within your budget too. So there's a link that I'll pop down below called Collabster, where you can find influencers in your area. And, you know, you don't have to spend like thousands and thousands of dollars on influencers. So I guess that kind of wraps everything up, because this video is getting really, really long. But I hope it's been really helpful. I want to thank Vanessa for her time today to join us for this vlog and then this Q&A too. So make sure to follow her on Instagram at Vanessa Conte. And if you have a brand and you're looking for, you know, like health, wellness coverage, and sustainability, definitely check out Vanessa and DM her for a collaboration. So guys, if you have any questions, you can pop them below, and don't forget to follow me on Instagram at Start Your Fashion Business if you want daily fashion business tips, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.